Good evening and welcome to City Limits, the show that provides you with information about the people, places, and events that shape the character of our community. I'm the host of City Limits, Norman McCourt. Tonight, we're joined with some guests from the World Affairs Council of the City of St. Louis, Autumn Harris and Jessica Belmo, and I can't reach that far, so good evening
That's okay.
to you. Let's talk about what is the World Affairs Council?
Well, we're a nonprofit, nonpartisan entity. There's about 90 of us all over the country, with the world or the national headquarters in DC. We've been in existence since 1948, so we've got a good track record. And we put on different kinds of programs with international education and international diplomacy themes, both for community members in the area and for people abroad who come in to St. Louis for different reasons, usually through the State Department, but also through other government entities.
Okay. Is the World Affairs Council part of any of the federal government? In other words, are you funded by kind of get grants to do the programs?
Yes, we do get several grants that keep us afloat that are from the State Department or from other government entities, but we are actually a nonprofit, so we are a member of the World Affairs Councils of America. So in that sense, we are not tied to the government. We're more like contract workers with the government.
Okay, well, sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah. How long have you been with the World Affairs Council, Jessica?
7 years now. I just passed the 7-year mark, and before that I was an unpaid intern for credit as an undergraduate student at SLU.
Okay, sounds good. How about you, Autumn? How long have you been with the World Affairs Council, and what do you do there?
I've been working with the World Affairs Council since 2000. Now I work with the World Affairs Council on a part-time basis, and I manage the Open World program and the Community Connections program.
Okay. Now, the Open World program, that is a program of the Library of Congress or something?
Correct. Very
okay.
good.
Yeah, see, you didn't think I knew that.
I'm impressed.
Yep, met with enough visitors now, or you know the drill, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I've actually worked with them before, so
Okay.
I'm very familiar with
Got
it.
it.
What, I guess I'll ask both of you the same question. I'll just go to each of you and ask, where do you get the groups from now? Where do they predominantly from? And what do they really want to learn when they come to visit St. Louis or any other city?
Sure. In my case, it's a little more varied than Autumn's programs. The program that I do through the State Department is called the International Visitor Leadership Program, and it's literally every country in the world. I want to take a map and just put little pins in each country so I can see how many I've covered, but it's probably most of them. Right now I have a group in town from 6 different countries. They're English teachers. My next group is from Australia, and they're looking at minority and youth activism. We've got firefighters coming in from Palestine. So I've noticed recently we're getting a lot more visitors from Africa, which I think is great, but really from everywhere. And they have all different themes. They're professionals in their field back home, and they come together to meet with people who have their same shared expertise and interests, and sort of have an exchange of best practices. But like I said, it can be any different number of topics for my case.
Do you get a chance to go
back to their country?
Countries?
No, I really wish it worked that way. It doesn't. But I have a lot of friends now all over the world where I know all I need to do is buy a plane ticket and everything else would be free. So I just need to find somebody in the the airline industry, and I'll be set.
Sounds like a plan. You got to work
Right.
on that one.
Right.
Okay, Autumn, how about you? What some of the groups you've worked with? And
Our visitors are predominantly from the same countries. So we host visitors from Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and they come through different programs, either the Open World program or the Community Connections program. And the themes are varied. The Open World visitors stay for 1 week, and the Community Connections visitors stay for 3 weeks. And the idea is that they come here and they meet with their counterparts in the US, and they share ideas, learn some new ideas that they can take back to their country and implement in their organizations.
Sounds like a very cultural and business type exchange that, you can get best practice. I mean, there's things they do in their country that we don't do that we probably could do too.
Oh, right, yeah. I've seen that happen a lot where we'll make an arrangement with an American resource and they'll sort of come in thinking that they're there to teach the people from the other countries the American way, which is the best way. And a lot of times it is, but a lot of times they're surprised to hear that other countries have figured some things out too that maybe they hadn't thought of. So it definitely is a two-way exchange.
I've found that in talking with we've hosted probably, I'd say 12 or 13 groups now. And I've found that you always learn something. You learn
Yeah,
something new. And, you know, some of the practices or some of the things during the exchanges you can use. I have used some things that I've learned. So,
Oh, good.
You know,
Glad to hear that.
it is a good thing. Predominantly, what do they want to find out? I mean, what is the trend now? What is the most interest that groups have?
Let's see. Recently, I've seen a lot of administration of justice, which means judges and lawyers and different kinds of law. I've seen a lot of political and grassroots activism groups coming in, a lot of civic activists, because that is something that we know how to do pretty well and that's happening all over the world. A lot of journalists. We get a lot of journalists, especially because Mizzou is so close, and that's one of the best journalism schools in the world. So they come spend a day at Mizzou and then spend a day here. I think those are my most recent surges in different kinds of programming.
Yeah, it was interesting. One time we had a gentleman that was associate editor of Pravda,
Oh, nice.
which was really,
Yeah.
really interesting. It was really interesting talking to him, and you know, he was explaining that in his country at that time, the press wasn't very free.
Yeah.
You know, it was very censored, and
Yep.
you know, anything he wrote would be subject to change.
Right, and I've
So-
seen that a lot. I've had a lot of people come from countries like that where they're really limited in their First Amendment rights, and so it's really interesting for them to come here and see how we do things.
How about you, Autumn? What is the topic that most people are interested in the groups that you work with?
Ours really vary. One topic that is always important and seems to occur every year is city administration. You know, meeting with mayors, meeting with city officials to just improve government function. So that's kind of the open world program seems to have that as one of the major themes.
One of the most interesting things I've noticed, and I really don't know why, maybe you can shed some light on, the viewers will be able to see later on in the segment of where the individuals, they tend to like to look at police cars. I have no idea why, but that is the most.
Your police cars are
Interesting
always
thing.
a big hit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how often does a person get to sit in a police car?
It depends.
It depends on what they do for a
Depends
living.
on a few things.
Yeah.
A
But
lot of
it's a-
people, a lot of times.
It's a rare opportunity, and it's something really extraordinary, something very American, you know?
I think in a lot of countries, people are a lot more apprehensive about approaching police
right.
officers. They're not necessarily so friendly and might not have the best track record. So I think they're surprised to come here and see how friendly and approachable our police departments are.
Oh, okay.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it was it was very very interesting. It's been that way every time, which is kind of
Without
strange.
fail. Well, and even I've heard of your famous Dare Corvette police cars. I hear about that one. Yeah.
That's the one I usually ride in the parades.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that is really nice. Yeah, well, sometime we'll have to have that over. I think we actually did have it here one time.
I
for
think
one
so.
group.
yeah,
A
because
while back.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
That's why I know about it from the group. They were just fascinated.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine how somebody would feel going down the street speeding and a Corvette chases them down. I mean, that has to be unique, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, that's one thing we're very happy. We, of course, the city of Blackjack contracts with St. Louis County for our police service, and we have a wonderful relationship with them, and the officers that work in Blackjack are just fabulous. So, it's a good fit, and we have a chance to do a lot of things that. You know, I guess cities that have their own police force can do it, but it's just kind of unique because it's two different organizations.
Sure.
and It's a little bit different.
Well,
What-
and your officers met with our visitors from Belarus and shared their expertise on domestic violence. So
Yeah, that added, I think, added a little extra information to it.
It did.
Because it told what the officer does if he encounters that situation.
Right.
So it provided them with some additional information they probably wouldn't have had otherwise. As we begin to wrap up here, let me ask you a question about what is the most interesting group you've ever worked with?
Oh man, that's too hard. There's too many. I'd have to say this wasn't a group. Rarely I'll have visitors come by themselves or accompanied by one State Department person. And years ago, I had a lady from Nigeria. Her name was Omowale Ogunrunde. And she is my idol. She was just such an amazing woman. She not only has a business, which you can find if you find Dudu Osun soap in a St. Louis store, that is my friend's soap. But beyond that, she created a program in Nigeria for women and for children, 2 different programs. There's a literacy program for children that's based off of Kids Smart here in St. Louis. And then the other program is to teach women how to be their own entrepreneurs. And she offers out microloans and teaches them their own trade so that they can be free from any oppressive situation they might think that they're stuck in and go off and have their own career and their own business. So she came years ago, but I will never forget her. She's an amazing woman.
Sounds good. How about you, Autumn?
probably one of my most interesting groups was a group of entrepreneurs we had from Saratov, Russia in 2003. They were just amazing. They were so enthusiastic, so happy to be here. They learned so many new things, and we actually planned a conference with them in Russia, and we went there in 2004. So that was an amazing experience for me because that was my first time going to Russia. So it was wonderful. I'll never forget them for sure.
Sounds great. Okay, as we finish up here, Autumn, I always ask this question of every guest I have, unless I forget. And sometimes I forget, but this time I didn't. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Francis Howell North,
Okay.
Howell North Knights.
So you're St. Louis area,
So yeah, St. Charles originally.
St. Charles area. Great. And how about you, Autumn?
And I went to Lutheran North, so it's not really too far from here.
Right.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for appearing on the show today and providing us with good information about the World Affairs Council, and now everybody will know what you all do.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this segment. Please stay tuned for our next segment, which is an interview with some of the members of the Belarus delegation that we hosted recently.